News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Monica Ricks. Iran says it's very close to a deal with Oman on a new maritime transit route in the Strait of Hormuz. But it cautions any agreement won't result in its immediate opening unless the U.S. meets certain conditions, including lifting a naval blockade and removing sanctions. It's unclear how Washington will respond to a final agreement, but Vice President J.D. Vance says talks are making progress.
We're in the middle of the game, and we're applying a whole host of tools, diplomatic, economic, military tools, to ensure that we get the best outcome for the American people. I feel quite confident we will get there, but we're still a bit in the middle of the game.
Vance on Fox News. President Trump has threatened attacks on Iran for months if it fails to reopen the strait. The Deputy Secretary of Defense has asked major U.S. defense companies, including Boeing and Lockheed Martin, to step up production and deliver key weapon systems amid concerns about munition shortages exacerbated by this war. Becca Wasser covers defense for Bloomberg Economics.
Obviously, there's been so much focus on munitions consumed in the Iran war, but he really focused on some of those next generation weapons, trying to speed production so that it becomes ingrained within those production cycles for those to be delivered faster. The problem is he's looking at some of the most complex weapons, including things that are needed for air defense systems that could be part of Trump's Golden Dome project, which is intended to protect all of America from all-out aerial attack, which is a pretty big ask.
That's defense reporter Becca Wasser on Bloomberg This Weekend. The Pentagon's asked companies to submit their plans by late August. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has rejected a 15-point document on Gaza put forward by the U.S., saying its defense forces won't pull back at all in the region until Hamas truly disarms from all of its weapons and stops threatening its military and citizens. Anything less, he says, is unacceptable. Last month, President Trump hailed the peace plan, calling it a monumental step towards lasting peace and security. More than 180,000 people are now being forced to ration water in Puerto Rico as the island continues dealing with severe drought and infrastructure issues. Resident Commissioner of Puerto Rico and U.S. Representative Pablo Jose Hernandez says it's a major crisis Puerto Ricans have been struggling with for years.
A lot of experts are saying this isn't just the drought that's provoking the rationing.
Representative Hernandez on Bloomberg This Weekend. He's urging Puerto Rico's governor to declare a state of emergency to gain access to more federal resources. More than 1,300 flights have now been canceled at Shanghai's 2 airports as China braces for Typhoon Dolphin. The storm's expected to hit later tonight with heavy rains and 100-mile-an-hour winds. Meantime, intense heat continues to blanket much of the U.S. today, with about 72 million Americans under some sort of heat alert or warning. Hunter Biden says his father's cancer is worsening.
The only thing that I say about my dad, about his health right now, is I wish he would complain more, because it's not good. The cancer has spread, is metastasized into his bones and further.
Hunter tells the BBC the former president's prostate cancer has become debilitating. The 83-year-old was diagnosed last year.
We come to this place for magic.
Paramount Skydance has agreed to sign contracts with major theater chains guaranteeing it'll release 30 movies a year in cinemas if it acquires Warner Brothers Discovery. Films would also stay in theaters for at least 45 days and wouldn't be available to stream online for at least 90 days. Paramount CEO David Ellison has made similar claims in public, so many Hollywood unions, producers, and even lawyers are skeptical. But Ellison says written commitments provide assurances that he won't change his mind later. Inflation is in focus in the week ahead. We get more on the economic calendar from Bloomberg's Karen Moscow.
Reports on existing home sales and small business optimism are out on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, we get the Consumer Price Index for July. Analysts we surveyed say core CPI may rise just 2.5% from a year earlier. Thursday, we get a look at inflation at the wholesale level with the Producer Price Index, as well as the weekly report on initial jobless claims. And Friday, it's retail sales, business inventories, and consumer sentiment from the University of Michigan. Karen Moscow, Bloomberg Radio.
This week, a total solar eclipse will darken parts of Europe, which hasn't happened in nearly 3 decades. Emo Bell's an astronomer with the Royal Observatory of Greenwich in London.
This is a huge event. We are so excited, and we are not going to see a total solar eclipse again in the UK for sure until 2090. So this is a massive deal.
Astronomer Emo Bell. The Spanish island of Mallorca is right in the path of Wednesday's eclipse. eclipse. It'll be the first total eclipse visible from Central or Western Europe since 1999. And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Monica Ricks, and this is Bloomberg.